Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're exploring resilience, uh, but with a twist.
A twist.
Yeah, we're looking at it through the lens of winemaking. I know, kind of unexpected, right?
Sounds intriguing.
Well, this fascinating Psychology Today article, Life Lessons from the Vineyard, really got me thinking.
Oh, about how winemaking can teach us about resilience. I'm listening.
Exactly, and it starts with, well, get this, Pinot Noir.
Pinot Noir, huh? What do they call it? The heartbreak grape.
That's the one. Known for being, well, difficult.
Finicky, yeah. But delicious when it's done right.
But here's where it gets interesting. The article says Pinot Noir thrives, like actually thrives under stress.
Wait, really? Like the more stress, the better the wine.
Well, not exactly. It's more like when Pinot Noir vines face challenges, tough soil, unpredictable weather.
They have to, work harder, right?
Exactly. They put all their energy into the fruit and that struggle. It actually creates a more concentrated, complex flavor.
Like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But for grapes...
Exactly. So, are you saying a little stress is actually a good thing?
There's this concept, eustress. Positive stress. It challenges us, but doesn't overwhelm us.
Interesting. So it's not all stress that's bad.
Right. It's about finding that balance. Too little, we get complacent. Too much, burnout. There's even a curve for it. The Yerkes-Dodson curve shows that sweet spot for optimal performance.
So, we need some stress to be our best.
It seems that way for grapevines and for us.
Okay, I see where this wine analogy is going.
Yeah.
But how do we know how much stress is too much? I mean, where's that line?
That's the key, isn't it? Knowing the difference between manageable challenges, the kind that help us grow, and the kind that, crush us.
So we have to be like our own stress sommeliers.
Haha, I like that. Developing our palate for stress.
Finding that perfect vintage of challenge.
Exactly. What enhances our lives? What makes us bitter? We need to figure that out.
All right, I'm ready for the next lesson from the vineyard. What else can we learn?
Well, let's talk about pruning. Winemakers, they prune their vines really carefully.
Cutting away all the excess, right? To focus on the good stuff.
Yeah. Seems harsh, but it directs the vine's energy toward, making the best fruit.
So it's about being selective.
Focusing on what truly matters. And I think we can apply that to our own lives, too.
Yeah, I see that. Letting go of those limiting beliefs that hold us back.
Or those commitments that, drain our energy, that don't bring us joy.
It's like sometimes letting go, even things we think are important,
can actually lead to, more growth, more resilience.
It makes me think of Carol Dweck's work on growth mindset, embracing challenges, seeing setbacks as opportunities to learn.
Yeah, exactly. Pruning, it's not just about enduring the tough stuff. It's about learning from it, improving.
That's powerful. So what are we holding on to that might be preventing us from, reaching our full potential?
Could saying no be the key to achieving more? It's something to think about.
It really is. This whole idea of pruning makes you think about, everything we cling to.
Habits, fear, maybe even just plain stubbornness could be holding us back.
It's like we need to be constantly evaluating, adjusting.
Just like a winemaker, right. They're always assessing their vines. What needs to go, what stays.
So we've got embracing stress, pruning away the excess. What else does winemaking have to teach us about resilience?
Well, next up, we have terroir. It's a big concept in winemaking.
Terroir. I've heard that word before, but what does it actually mean?
It's about the environment. Everything that goes into shaping the character of a wine.
Like the soil?
Soil, climate, even geography, human practices too.
So where the grapes are grown matters a lot.
It's a huge part of what makes a wine unique.
Okay, I get that. But how does this terroir relate to our own resilience?
That's a great question. Think about it this way. What's your terroir? Your unique blend of experiences.
You mean like the circumstances we're born into?
That's part of it. But it's also about how we interact with those circumstances, how we're molded by them.
So even if we face some tough times, it doesn't mean,
that we're destined to be a bad vintage.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of the most celebrated wines, they come from vines that have really struggled.
Really?
They've had to dig deep, fight for nutrients, overcome adversity, and they end up producing something exceptional.
Wow, so it's like we can draw strength from our challenges too.
Just like those resilient vines, we can become more complex, more interesting because of what we faced.
It's fascinating, this whole terroir thing. Our environment shapes us, but we're not just stuck with whatever we're given.
Exactly. We have a say in it, too. And, there's this research by Emmy Werner on resilience in children.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of her.
Yeah.
She studied kids who face some really tough stuff.
Yeah, she looked at kids who grew up in poverty, experienced neglect, even trauma.
What did she find?
Well, the amazing thing is, despite all that adversity, some of those kids, they thrived.
Really? So what, some people are just born more resilient?
It's more nuanced than that. She found some key factors, things that help these kids build resilience.
Like what?
Strong support systems, having people they could rely on, a sense of purpose, feeling like their lives had meaning.
And opportunities for growth, I bet.
Exactly. It wasn't about just being tough. It was about having resources, believing in themselves.
It really shows that resilience, it's not just something you're born with. It's something we can develop, right?
Absolutely. It's something we can cultivate. And it makes me think about, well, what are my resilience resources?
Oh, that's a good question. The things that help us through tough times.
Yeah. Like, who do you turn to for support? What helps you recharge? Those things are important.
Knowing what works for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like each stage of winemaking is giving us another piece of the resilience puzzle.
It really is. We've got the stress thing, pruning, the environment. What's next in the process?
Well, if we're following the wine analogy...
We're moving on to fermentation.
Fermentation. That's where things get a little...
messy. Unpredictable.
Yeah. Kind of like life itself sometimes.
Exactly. But think about it. Fermentation, it's this chaotic process. Yeast, sugar, bubbles, heat.
Doesn't sound very appealing.
No, but it's essential. This crazy process, that's what transforms simple grape juice into something complex.
Wine.
Exactly. And that's where the metaphor gets really interesting.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So our struggles, are they like the yeast?
In a way, yes. They transform us. Not that we should go looking for suffering, of course.
Right, but challenges, when we handle them right, they can help us grow.
They can make us stronger, deeper, just like fermentation makes the wine more complex.
It reminds me of that Viktor Frankl quote, "Man's search for meaning." He said something like, "What is to give, light must endure burning."
Wow, that's powerful and so true. Frankl's work, it really speaks to the human capacity for resilience.
Finding meaning in those tough times, even when it feels impossible.
It's like those struggles, they're fermenting something amazing within us, even if it's, uncomfortable at the time.
It's a process, right?
Exactly. It might not feel good in the moment, but those experiences, they can ultimately make us more like a fine wine. Deeper, wiser, stronger.
So we've gone from stressed out grapes to pruning the environment, and now we're fermenting our way through tough times. Is that it? Is the wine ready?
Not quite. Even after fermentation, patience is still key. We're talking about the aging process now.
So now we get to the oak barrels and dimly lit cellars.
Exactly. But it's more than just a romantic setting. It's about time. That time spent aging, that's crucial for the wine to develop.
So it's like resilience isn't something we build overnight.
Takes time, reflection, learning from our experiences, even the tough ones.
Okay, so we've had those aha moments. We pruned away the excess. We even fermented, through some tough times. Now what? Just got to let it all mellow out.
It's like we need time to process everything, right? To really understand what we've been through, to learn from it.
It's that aging process, isn't it? But what does that actually look like? I mean, outside of a fancy wine cellar.
It's about giving ourselves space to reflect, to figure out, what it all means.
So it's not just about, getting through tough times. It's about actually making sense of them.
Exactly. Remember Viktor Frankl, finding meaning in suffering. It's like that. And there are lots of things that can help with this aging process.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Journaling is a big one. Mindfulness. Even just having good conversations with people you trust.
It's funny you mentioned journaling. I always struggle to, keep up with it. But when I do, I'm always surprised,
What do you mean?
Like things become clearer. Thoughts and feelings I didn't even realize I had, they just kind of, they surface.
It's like putting it all down on paper. It helps it settle.
Yeah, exactly.
Even just a few minutes a day can make a difference. Just that little bit of reflection can really help us process those experiences.
Let them age and mellow, like a fine wine.
Exactly.
There's one thing in the article that's been in the back of my mind this whole time. It talks about, those grapes that don't make it into the wine.
Oh, you mean the tragic tales of grapes, the ones that end up as raisins?
Yeah. What about them? Are some of us just, destined to be raisins?
I think the article uses that image with a bit of humor, but there's a deeper point there.
What do you mean?
It's like resilience. It's not always about overcoming every obstacle. Sometimes it's about accepting things,
Accepting what is, yeah.
adapting to change, finding meaning in the unexpected.
So maybe those raisins, they're not failures, just different.
Exactly. They just needed a different kind of transformation. Maybe they became something equally valuable, just, in a different form.
I like that. Takes the pressure off, right? It's not about being perfect. It's about finding our own path.
And honoring our own journey, wherever it takes us, and appreciating all the different vintages, so to speak.
So it's not about comparing ourselves to others. It's about, well, celebrating the diversity of human experience.
Exactly. Just like a good sommelier can appreciate all those different wines, right? We can learn to appreciate the different ways we all face challenges and grow from them.
It's amazing how much we can learn from something as simple as, well, making wine.
Really makes you think.
So to everyone listening, remember those Pinot Noir vines. Embrace those challenges and trust that you're becoming the vintage you were meant to be.
And hey, if you're feeling like a raisin, remember, even dried up grapes can be pretty amazing. There's always hope, always potential.
It's been a fascinating deep dive. Until next time, everyone, keep exploring and keep growing.
Cheers to that.